Just a summer. You're late. It has nothing to do with this. This is just a bit transition to get me to sing motivationally myself about how I know you don't think you can make another video, but you could do if you wanted to. Shut up! Why are you staring out of a window?
For continuity.
Why haven't you made a new video?
I got injured.
Well, I just poured my heart out into a video I have always wanted to make. Let's look at the comments. I sure hope everybody likes it. Huh. Wow. These comments are all actually really positive. I'm so glad that everyone... That is pathetic. I suck. What should you do, me? Did you have fun making the video? Yeah. Yeah, I really did. But the Lord helped, so.
I can always do it over again.
Really?
Yeah.
Alright, well, for the last time you talked about a good movie that you liked and that worked well.
For the last time.
How about this time I talk about a bad movie that I like?
If there are any.
Welcome to X-Men Days of Future Past, the first in a long line of successful X-Men origin documentary films, starring with fan favorite huge jacked man. He must travel through time by growing up with the acting legend, the tour de force, Liev Schreiber. Together they must unite to find out that they hate each other's guts and discover the truth about evil mastermind Colonel Stryker's plot. Will Wolverine find true love, or has he X'd his last man? Tune in to find out, and don't forget to subscribe to Donkey. Okay, now back to the video. I saw this movie on opening night. I was in Colorado, I was 18 years old, and I have a fond memory of the experience. The line went out the door, and I had a great time standing in line with my friends because we were playing hacky sack. And this is when I kind of just discovered the game with them, and we had strangers in the theater waiting in line in the lobby coming and joining us and playing. It was a great night. Most movies that I own, I never saw in theaters, even less on opening night, so this one's kind of a special one. But I remember being in that theater and how the audience reacted to certain parts of the movie, and I remember where I was sitting as far as what the screen looked like. I was in the front or next to the front row and looking up like this the whole time. I was just having a great time, and everyone in the audience was too, so that's part of the bias for why I like it, I'm sure. This movie is the kind of bad where I feel like I have to defend myself when I say that I like it. Yeah, the movie isn't constructed very well. The script is pretty bad, but it's not a objectively bad movie. It's not like bad. It's just not great. Other than that, I can't say why I like the movie. I can recognize why it's dumb, and I will point out many things, many things that most people probably haven't noticed or care about because I'm that kind of an asshole. If you've seen the movie, you'll get a lot of the things I'm talking about in this video, but if you haven't seen it and you don't mind having it spoiled, then hopefully you'll just have fun like I'm gonna have fun. But if you don't want it spoiled,
spoilers.
Let's put on the headphones. And I just want to say, I have, I think, 350 marker notes in the film. About 100 of those are digital zooms, which I'll get to that. Other than that, that's still a lot of notes on the movie, and I was thinking this video wasn't going to be as long as the last one, but maybe it will be. Hi, sweetie. Hi, sweetie. How are things? How are things? Did you find Rent? Did you find Rent? Where's Rent? Did you find it? You must find Rent. I need that money.
I need that money.
All right, now let's get into it. First thing is a location title. This shows us where in the world we are. Northwest Territories, Canada, 1845. This is going to turn to something called globetrotting, which is when we jump from location to location on the planet. But then something else happens, and I'll point that out when I see it. But this is the first instance in the movie of that. We get introduced to Wolverine / Logan / Jimmy's room, and what's by his bed? Wow, it looks like a Wolverine. Wow. There are other animals in the room, but none of them are Wolverines, so although it'd be really funny if each individual picture was the same picture of the same Wolverine just all over the room, like, because that's a little like cute maybe, but if you could have it too much to where it's annoying, so I'll allow it. And now we have the first of many digital zooms, which is a huge peeve of mine. Time for a rant. A digital zoom to me is annoying for a few reasons. A not so good reason is because to me, as someone who edits, I see it right away and I know that it's a digital zoom. So because I subconsciously see it and I'm not looking for it, but it's jumping out to me, that's my own problem, right? But the real reason I hate digital zooms is because it shows me laziness, a lack of confidence, or no planning. I think you should have this in mind when you're shooting, whether the cinematographer or the director goes, now we need to zoom in for dramatic effect. Use your optical zoom or dolly in, have that put in intentionally. When it's done digitally, after the fact, it seems like an afterthought. This scene isn't dramatic enough, just crop it in. But number 3, and the last thing about these digital zooms is there are too goddamn many. I don't know of any movie that zooms in this many times this much, where it's overdone. Okay, moving on.
Digital zoom.
Shut the fuck up.
I always like this camera motion. It's nothing like super amazing. It's very cool. No. I don't want to say it's badly acted, but that line was always just funny to me. This is obviously has to be intentional. I can't think of any other reason other than that I think it's neat, but I like how both the fathers here look like either Logan or Victor.
What are you?
I'm your son.
Bitch.
No fault on this kid, but that run outside just looks too dainty to me. And I know he's got these prosthetic things he's got to hold. He's got to get around his mom, but I would think you're bolt. It looks more like do 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 do, and you can more easily understand that mindset if you remove the music, which kind of removes the tone they're trying to impress on you. So if I put some other music on here, it's kind of funny now. Counts as a nitpick, but half of my picks are nits, so.
You have to be hard now.
I always thought that was weird. You have to be erect now. How about tough? Tough fits better. You have to be tough now. Strong maybe, but hard. You have to be rock hard now. Okay, so for all the crap I give that 3-minute intro sequence does exactly what it needs to do. It's competent. And then this sequence that happens when they're growing up and going through the wars, that's awesome. It's really cool. And I remember myself being personally invested and be like, oh, that's really cool. And I'm sure the audience was too. I don't think there's anything wrong with this. I think the movie is actually fairly strong up through this sequence. Schreiber! Every time I see his name, I think of it that way. I'm not a music person, but if someone could make their own version of Space Fire into Liev Schreiber, I'd be like, so Liev Schreiber running on all fours looks silly, but in its defense, I can't think of a better way to do it. He's clearly on a harness and you have to okay, Liev, just act like this is normal. I think it's as good as it's going to get, but it looks silly, and there's a sillier instance in the future. I just want to point it out. So look at this guy on the left. He's all grimaced and pointing his gun, but when the camera swings around Wolverine and we finally look at him again, for just a moment we realize that he's smiling, whoops. I think maybe he thought the take was over and he stopped with the face, because if you go to either side of Wolverine's head, he's clearly had a change in tune. This face is not appropriate. Not a big deal, but there it sits. So like I said, I think the intro sequence is actually really pretty good, but I think this all would have been better if they had stayed with this and kept the brothers together for much more of the film and made their bond stronger, because the only bond we saw was over the 3 minutes and then the 2-minute credits. And that's sufficient for the story they're trying to tell, but I wish maybe for at least the third act, we had them together working together more and got a bit more of their falling out. I understand that's what the 5 minutes was trying to do, but that would have been cooler, I think. Digital zoom. By the way, I'm going to let my computer call out digital zooms because I'm not going to say digital zoom every time. But I am going to make you look at all of them so you can hopefully understand how annoying this is.
Digital zoom, digital zoom, digital zoom.
I don't know if you guys could tell, but that was CGI. Okay, so I made fun of someone saying no a minute ago. Here's a good instance of no.
I love this weapon more than any other thing in the whole wide world. You want to know why? No.
No. Just perfect. And here's another grievance I have. It's not as frequent as digital zooms, but there is a far greater offender of these things called reversed shots, where the video is basically just played backwards. Take a look at this.
You whip out a couple of swords?
When I point it out like that, maybe it's a bit more obvious. It's not a particularly bad one, but it is absolutely a reverse shot. The tell is always the way the eyes move and how they blink. If I play it reverse, right, so now it actually looks playing in the correct way.
You whip out a couple of swords?
That looks more natural. Now, why do they reverse shots like this? It's because we have our actor and we want him to look at something or pay attention or direct attention to something, but he looked the wrong way. We don't have that actual eye dart in the direction that we want. Just reverse it. That's fine. I understand why they do it. But to me, and in the deep part of everyone's brain, you look at that and go, that was weird or that's wrong. And so in this instance, at least there's a reason for it. In the future, it gets worse. No one knows or cares about those but me. And I'm going to subject you to them. Next instance of globetrotting, Wheels Down Lagos, I forgot, how do you say it?
Wheels Down in Lagos in 5.
Lagos, yeah. Wheels Down Lagos in 5. This is our second instance of globetrotting. And there's a digital zoom happening at the same time, but that doesn't count because it's a CGI shot. It is all digital, so that doesn't count.
Digital zoom.
This is very cool, but he should have reloaded earlier. I've played a lot of Battlefield, and I know that you shouldn't spend time running with a low clip. You reload after you fired and when he's not getting shot at. So he spends, 4 seconds or so running when he should be reloading. Just that's not how it's done. Where do these guys fall from? It looks cool, but then I was like, wait a minute. Why would anyone... What about the floors they're standing on? So I went back and I looked, and there's no guys hanging directly over or in any location where they should fall. Yeah, it looks cool, but... What?
Digital zoom. Digital zoom.
Come on, the elevator. The elevator!
I quote this line so much, and for no good reason. It's not special, but to me, it just pops in my head. Whenever I go into an elevator or I'm walking out, I say this to myself. Come on, the elevator! The elevator! Sometimes you can't choose what sticks in your brain. That's one of those things.
Digital zoom.
This bothered me the first time I saw it. Not a lot, but I noticed it right away, and I'm sure a lot of people did. Where are the blood on your blades, dude? And this happens all throughout the whole movie. This is one of the more egregious examples. You just slaughtered a bunch of dudes, and the blades are clean. I knew there was some skeleton formed when he teleports, but I didn't realize how in detail it is. But I just wanted to draw your attention to the fact that they bothered to model his skeleton for every time, and that looks cool. Here's a reverse shot, and this one I saw right away when I saw the movie. It bugs me. One reason I don't like it is because, yeah, they're trying to make Wolverine look at where the action is happening, but I don't think they needed to do that, and it just looks weird.
Digital zoom.
There are a few transitions like this in the movie. I'm not going to point them all out, just this one, because I think it's done the best, but clearly the rock here is part of a second shot. There's a rotoscope on the left side of the rock, and when it swings around, it looks really good. And you can tell, because if you go back to when the shot is being replicated, you can see that the rock looks different. The first instance is the actual shot in the first rock, and the second one is the second shot. It's just neat. Well done. There's a few of these. Some of them look better than others. This one looks like flawless to me.
You coming?
This is the most set-looking set in the whole movie. It just looks like a set because of how much of a set it is. Also, the lightning is really cute. I don't know if this makes sense. I guess it does, but they have two different lights for two different things of lightning. You got lightning bolts 1 and lightning bolts 2, but you can see the beams of light, which, to me looks fake, but I guess you could argue, no, it's branches covering the lights. Like, yeah, I guess, but that just looks fake. Globetrotting number 3, Canadian Rocky, 6 years later. Okay, and how far are we in the movie? 18 minutes, and we've traveled a third time. That's not egregious. There are worse examples, but still globetrotting. When I saw this the first time, I was like, this is the life. He's in the mountains. And this is when I just got to Colorado and discovered my love of mountains. He's in the mountains. He's got a house in the middle of nowhere. He's got a sweet babe. He's got his shirt off, all alone. It's quiet. I love it. It's perfect. That's the life.
Come here. See, baby.
Hey.
This part is so great. It's actually good. Like, this is a scene that could be in a good movie. It's just a good sequence. Although Captain America Civil War did something very similar. They're both good, but I love this one. Globetrotting again. It's been a minute later. We're in Springfield, Ohio. Simpsonsville, one of the Springfields. Is a lady in a box. This line sticks out to me in my brain. Again, it's one of those things you don't choose, but to me it's funny. It's a lady in a box. In case you didn't know that, audience, or the audience or the crew in the film, that's what it is. It's a lady in a box. I love this shot of him, and I love that face he makes. I think of this sometimes because I'll find myself making this face just kind of, and I'm sure a lot of us do. And sometimes when I'm doing this and thinking like that, I'll think back to this still image of him because I'm like, that's a mood. So I always thought this carnival felt kind of fake, and I think I realized what it is. It's the sod. It looks literally like just strips of grass laid down like it's a set, and they just lay down fake grass because it's so flat. It's weird, but whatever. Okay, so this sound always stuck out in my head as something familiar, just that rink-a-tink-tink. And I thought about it, I went, I think I know what it is. I think that sound is or reminds me of Return of the Jedi at Jabba's palace when they're playing that music. It sounds like that. I'm going to play them in transition to see how similarly they sound.
Spot on.
Digital zoo, digital zoo, digital zoo, digital zoo, digital zoo, digital zoo.
Not afraid of dying.
How do you know? You've never tried it before.
That would be a dumb line if he hadn't died before, but he has died before. So while the line sounds really cheesy, I think it works. This is where the movie starts to be like, I think it's good or bad. I don't know. It teeters. This is an otherwise good shot in a bad movie. It's just kind of neat. Like, you know, all the lights go off in a wave, and even they have the train that like powers off and slows down. I don't know if it's a miniature or not, but it's a good shot. You know, it does what it needs to do, and it goes by so quick you don't really pay attention to the fact like, yeah, this shot probably took a lot of work and someone put it together, and it's really cool. That scratch is too small, and it bothers me because it's the width of like 3 fingers, but it should be the width of his claws, which is like at least a hand, so it doesn't make any sense. And if the claws come out the hand, like, I mean, maybe, no, not even that, because it'd be a spread. It's just wrong.
Looks like we're gonna need new sheets again, baby.
I don't know when I thought this. Maybe it was the first time I watched it, but clearly when she says that, she's saying that he ripped the sheets. But I thought maybe she meant that he pissed himself.
Digital zoo, 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 digital zoo.
I like how they're playing on freak. It's so mean. I know that the guy in the theme park carnival said freak earlier. But just having it printed in the title is like, aw, that's mean. And he almost has the face still. This is another example of an otherwise good scene in a bad movie, or at least someone did a good job. I like the colors a lot. So you have Wolverine mixed with the warm colors in the background, and then you have Stryker, the antagonist, in like these cold colors, even his hair. So his hair and his jacket are like black and gray, but they're actually more of like a blue. And so there's that nice contrast, and it's like he doesn't belong in the environment. Someone made that conscious decision almost certainly. I think it'd be kind of dumb if this was just a coincidence, but I noticed that one. Hey, someone did a good job. You know, this is one of those things that you're not supposed to notice, because if someone does a good job, you don't see it. That's usually how it is in my opinion, but I noticed, and I want you to notice it too.
The country needs you. I'm Canadian.
I remember this got a pretty good laugh in the audience. So you all know that driving cars in movies is fake as crap. And, you know, the green screen in the background I can point at. But there's this weird thing where they put shadows on her face. I think they're fake shadows. I don't know. They don't match or fit, but they went through the effort either on set or in post to try to make it look more real with the shadows, which look extra weird to me, but eh.
What you have is a gift.
A gift. You can return a gift.
This bothered me the first time I saw it. It's a continuity error that doesn't matter. It's fine. No one will notice. I noticed. Allow me to complain. Almost certainly he says gift for the second shot, but the frames are off. It's ahead by like, 6 to 8 frames out of 24. So it looks like he's finishing saying gift. I could actually edit that so you can see gift. That's basically what he's saying.
You can return a gift.
But you could fix it by just rolling it back. You don't need to have him slip it twice. It's just weird.
You can return a gift.
There are a lot of contrived things in this movie, and this one is the worst offender to me. Okay, we need Wolverine to get mad or have a grievance with some regular dude so we can show how angry he is and show her powers that are a secret right now. But really, they're just going to park on the bridge and then just immediately, that's not realistic. I hadn't thought of a better situation. Usually I try not to criticize unless I can think of an alternative that's better. I haven't, because I haven't tried. But I bet if you tried for 5 seconds, you'd think of something more realistic and believable and less contrived.
Digital zoo, digital zoo.
Okay, so tacto-hypnosis. I wondered how this works because she's touching the clothes. Clearly her powers are working. So what are the limits to her powers? I thought she'd have to touch skin. Obviously not. So is it proximity? It seems like a really arbitrary power. Not to mention they change how it doesn't work on Dave Schreiber. It doesn't work on him. Well, then if it's because of his regenerating powers, then it would stand to reason that it wouldn't work on Wolverine either, which is possible, I guess. She said she didn't use her powers on him. Anyway, it gets really confusing. If I was behind glass and I touched the glass, would it work? I don't know. That starts to bother me. Just turn your brain off. Movie.
Female powers of persuasion. It's a gift.
Gift. You can return a gift.
Cuckoo got screwed.
I love this line, and it made the audience laugh, and I still quote it sometimes, rarely. Specifically, if I'm screwed, I go, man, I'm getting cuckoo-cachooed. I just got cuckoo-cachooed, my dude. Okay, the creme de la crap Ola of reverse shots. This is the worst one. Okay, so again, in its defense, you don't notice it, really, probably. Normal people don't, and they don't care if they do notice it, all right? Here's the problem. It serves no purpose. There is no reason for this. It's not to make his eyes look in one direction or the other. They're looking in the same direction. So why is it reverse? Let me play it in the normal direction here. That was fine. Why is it reversed? I can't. That's the most mind-boggling bad thing about this movie to me. And it's honestly the biggest thing I hate about it, because there's no reason for it and it's there anyway. Okay. I always thought that shot was weird. Like, let's just put the camera in really close. Ugh. It's almost like they're trying to show dramatic effect of the tree hitting the ground, which we don't need. Nothing wrong with it. I just thought it was a weird decision. This is weird to me too, how, the camera like dollies in and we got the camera following the car, and the last few frames of this shot are just sped up, like speed ramps. Like, why? You do that like in an action sequence. It's kind of like what they just did before with the tree falling down, and maybe that's what they're trying to do. Maybe they're trying to lead you into action, but that just feels wrong and weird. I don't know why someone chose that. I just want to understand the reasoning. This sound means be scared and that something bad is going to happen. Also, bigger problem, as we find out later, this is all pre-planned and staged and stuff for Wolverine. So why does this scene happen the way it does? I'll tell you why it happens the way it does, so we as the audience can go, oh, no. But between these two, when this whole scene plays out, they wouldn't act that way. He'd be like, hey, what's up? She's like, hey, just lay down. Like, this whole... It's getting harder for me to defend this movie. Man, talk about bad CGI. This reflection in the window really bothers me. Again, this is kind of like a lazy aforethought in post thing where you could have set that up practically. Maybe the reflection looks intimidating, and I get why visually you'd want that, but do it practically. The fact that it's here says someone in post, oh, maybe this should happen, and we'll just do it in post. Well, it looks bad. That little boom sound means something is bad. Okay, I think I just said that was the worst CGI. This is the worst CGI in the whole movie. Oh, you know what's funny? It's like ironic that sound and imagery is perfectly representative of the quality of that work. It's just like, it's like nails on a chalkboard. It's cringy. It's like, ugh, because it looks fake. It sounds fake. One reason it looks fake is because the whole car would like come up. Try that. Like make a catch. No, just butter. Like, ugh. It looks bad. This movie's got some pretty notorious bad CGI. Maybe the claws of Wolverine, but that might be the worst shot.
Digital Zoo.
I gotta read my notes on this because it's kind of confusing. The whole finding her dead. If they're trying to make it look like Victor did it, then they had to count on him finding the dead animal and the claw marks. Otherwise, there should be wounds on her body. This doesn't make sense. Also, there's no funeral. He just finds some blood on her and decides that she's dead.
Dead!
He might think she's dead in the moment, right? But as soon as she changes hands, someone else, like a coroner, is going to do a thorough investigation. I'm a doctor, and she is decidedly not stabbed. In fact, it looks like she's had a dose of hydrochlorothiazide. I don't know about that, but he'd find that there's nothing wrong with her. And they would bury her or cremate her, which is a problem. Whatever. It's you know why this is dumb.
Digital Zoo.
How did he find him? I guess he can smell. He smelled Victor earlier. I guess that's how. I don't think they have to explain it. I kind of wish they did. I don't know. It's always convenient when the protagonist knows exactly where to go when they have no reason that they should actually know.
Digital Zoo. Digital Zoo. Digital Zoo.
I thought his coat was so cool that I bought one. And I bought it on eBay for $40. And I was very proud of my purchase. I would have been like 18 years old, and I still have it. Now I must wear it. Yes, I know, it's very exciting. I'm getting something out of plastic. This is before your time, Ronan. You want to smell it? Something exciting? It's a piece of the past.
What is it? What do you smell?
What is it? What do you smell?
Please.
And, gotta pop the collar. 12 years, and I finally reached a moment where I can wear this coat. Smells like history. Anyway, back to work. Here's an instance of a stuntman, or someone who is not Hugh Jackman. I love stuntmen and most people who work in the film industry and all the wonderful good work that goes unnoticed. I want to shout out the stunt guys. I like how in some older movies, oftentimes, if you just find a good frame, you can see a pretty good image of not the actor. And I like that they're, these stunt guys are in the movie. Usually nowadays, they use CGI to put the actor's face on top of the stuntman, so you never get to see the stuntman. So when you do get a good still of the actual guy, I like to show it off and shout him out. And I have a fantasy that some stunt guys in these movies I talk about will be in the comments and go, "That's me!" And I'm like, "Yeah, dude!" And then everybody can say hi. Now, I always thought this looked bad. It still looks bad. CGI dude with a CGI face. Just wanted to point that out. This shot looks weird for a few reasons. One of which is because I didn't notice this until my most recent watch. The whole hand is fake. Look at that hand. That's not a real hand. That's weird. Now I know why they did that, because you want to do this practical shot, and I think, yeah, this is how I think it should be done. But now that I'm drawing attention to the fact that it's a fake ass hand, it's like, eh.
So what's your plan, Captain?
I quote that a lot, specifically to Ronan. "What's your plan, Captain?" He doesn't care, but one of those things that just sticks in my head. I like it, you could see his throat moving, but according to this, the needle is already in his nose.
195.
Will he survive this?
I don't know.
Heart rate well beyond maximum.
All the shots in this flashback sequence are practically old, except for this one. This is a shot that doesn't happen anywhere else in the movie. And also, I know it's not, but it kind of looks like whatever her name is, Captain America's girlfriend, Peggy, whatever. But they actually shot another shot, which looks like it was shot specifically for the flashback sequence. I don't know why they would have shot it otherwise, but if you're going to go out and shoot flashback shots for the sequence, why is this the only one? I don't know, but there it is. His throat is still moving and he's dead, which means he's not dead. So, this reaction shot, the camera dollying in dramatically, they did the exact same thing on Stryker, which is funny because they're wearing the exact same outfit and they have the same hair. So I'm going to put them side by side for fun. I just want to say here, not all the CGI in this movie looks bad, and not all the CGI claws looks bad. This looks good, man. It's a cool shot. Also, I want to say, quick aside, like I said, I have respect for people in the film industry and people who do good work and that you never see. At the same time, I recognize that not all of the bad work is anyone's particular fault. Like sometimes bad CGI isn't because they suck at their job, it's because the conditions for their job suck. So, I mean, I'm making fun of the bad work, but not necessarily of the worker. I really love you film people. I love you so much. Movies are a big part of me, for real. And a part of me wouldn't be here if it weren't for you movie people. So thank you so much for what you do. And I mean that sincerely. At least 3 screams combined. I do not like when movies do this. Again, you want to have a character scream up for a long time. Not many people can actually do that. So what do? You stick them together. And if you listen, you can hear 3 different screams put together. This happens in other movies and shows. It's kind of normal, but I hear it. It sticks out. Maybe you can hear it if you listen for it. I personally don't like it. Moving on. I just noticed the needle in his right arm that pops out. I think it's pretty cool. That shot has a low frame rate for some reason. It shouldn't. I'm guessing they wanted the shot to last longer than they actually shot it for, so they slowed it down, but it looks weird. That's like flashback sequence frame rate, right? So in an otherwise normal, fast-paced action scene, it looks weird. Whatever. I'm a huge fan of this guy for no reason. He's just a chemical dude. He's got a sweet ass mask. For no reason that makes any sense, he charges Wolverine unarmed and just dies. No reason for that. He's got no character, but I love him. I love his outfit almost as much as this coat. But whoever you were in that movie, I'm a huge fan. I'm not joking. Again, in the same way that dumb random quotes just stick in my head, but not consciously, my subconscious will reach out and love things. Why do you love that guy, Brain? Brain's like, he's awesome. I'm like, okay, he's awesome. So I love this guy. Hi. It's a weird shot. It looks reversed. I'm not convinced that it is. At least there's a speed ramp going on. It looks weird.
X-Men.
I know Hugh Jackman had to do a lot of ADR sessions and looping for his breathing and dialogue. You can hear it pretty clearly here, especially if you kind of look at his lips and the breathing and the fact that it doesn't quite fit. But if you pay attention to it, you can see and hear that this is audio recorded after the fact, not on set.
Digital Zoo. Digital Zoo.
Okay, remember how earlier I said that Wolverine was living the life? This guy is living the life. Between the two, I choose this guy. You're an old man in a sweet-ass car in the mountains with a sweet babe, and you're smiling and you have a farm. I don't know. It's not much different, but I want to be this guy more. I love him, and I love these two, and I love it so much. This is like the picture of what happiness is to what I think men want. I know it's what I want. Oh, look, a cute joke sticker that's a commentary on what we're watching, kind of like the Wolverine picture. It's tongue-in-cheeky. This is what I call an example of making a small joke too big. This would be better if it was like a smaller sticker, like half the size or a quarter of the size on the quarter of the window, so it's barely noticeable, but it's there. Because if that bumper sticker were like the whole width of the window, it'd be obnoxious, right? Just like with the Wolverine poster. If you had like a tiny one by the side of the bed, you can barely know, oh, it's a Wolverine. Like, oh, then it's more of a reward as opposed to a big 6x6 foot picture of a Wolverine next to Jimmy when he's sleeping in bed. That's just like corny. So anyway, small joke that's too big.
I think there's a naked man in the barn.
Yeah.
I remember the audience laughing at that. I did too. I love this guy so much. I love him. I love him. And it occurred to me, it occurred to me when I was editing this that guy's probably dead now. Because I love him so much and I care about him. I'm going to look it up and see where he is. I just Googled the word Google. Goddamn, I'm so stupid. Max Cullen is his name. Born in 1940. So he'd be 82 now. The first result, I Googled Max Cullen death. First result is a website called deadorkicking.com. This is morbid. It says Max is alive and kicking. It's currently 82 years old. I'm going to take that as fact. I'm very happy now.
Carve it up with that. I don't want you giving the old lady a heart attack.
I remember the audience laughing at that, and I remember it being predominantly female laughs.
Digital Zoo.
So this is the notorious shot of the bad CGI claws, the only thing that has survived from this movie. No one remembers or cares about it, but this has survived still. If people want to show like a montage of bad CGI, they pull this. And yeah, it's famous. There's this weird sound added in post. I'm sure it's supposed to be the lady, but it sounds like a guy going, ooh, like trying to add a sense of surprise. But she's clearly not saying it, so it's just weird to me. I wouldn't have bothered with it.
Why is the moon so lonely?
Why?
Because she used to have a lover. He can never touch her again.
Why are his memories in his right ear?
Digital Zoo.
You look like a man fixing to do a bad thing.
I don't know why this is in the movie. It seems like it slipped past the editor, but Wolverine's clearing his throat while Max Cullen is delivering his sweet-ass line. Like he forgot to just, like it should have been dropped off before he spoke. There's no reason for it to be there. It needs to be cleaned up a little bit.
You look like a man fixing to do a bad thing. You know what happens to men who go looking for blood? What? They find it.
This is what I'd call a good line in a bad movie. And I know it's a good line because it could have been much worse.
You know what happens to men who go looking for blood? What?
The same thing that happens to everything else.
Continuity error, not a big deal, but he turns to face her, but then we cut and he's turning to face him. Whatever. Ugh. There's a lot of edits like this in this movie. I'm not going to point them all out. There's a lot of speed ramps and there's a lot of, what would you call those? Frame jump edits. It's sped up or images are removed to make it look faster. And the reason they're doing this is to make her bullet reaction fast. They're not going to ask an old lady, do this. You know, like they're going to have her do this and then they're going to speed that motion up. And you can see how irregular it looks because the rest of the frame is also sped up. So his reaction is unnaturally fast. I don't like it. I know why they did it. It's kind of a cheap, easy, quick editing trick that works. Would I do it? Not if he was in the frame. I wouldn't risk it. If she was the only person in the frame and he wasn't there to kind of ruin that illusion, I'd go ahead and do it. So it's kind of in the middle. Not like what I do is the gold standard, but like I do have my own standards, I guess. And so props to Wolverine for using my hero Max Cullen as a human shield from incoming fire, even though he's immortal. Very cool, Wolverine. Very cool. I remember the audience reacting to this. I remember them like gasping, like, "Oh no!" I think one person actually said, "Oh no," which is what my heart said, but I wasn't going to say that out loud. I wasn't quite that pathetic. I mean, I bought a stupid jacket, and I'm still love this movie all these years later. But no, that person was pathetic, not me. I remember being so mad at the sniper too, especially when he said he just murdered 2 civilians. Like, anyway, justice.
Weapon X is in the barn.
Ugh, that just looks so bad. That looks so bad. Sorry, I don't have anything else to say.
Blow him to bits. Let's see if he can survive that.
Wait, does he want him to take his head off or blow him to bits?
Take his head off.
I guess they don't need him alive. They got his DNA, presumably. But, like, make up your mind. And also, if you want to take his head off or blow him to bits, you wouldn't use a sniper for either. So I'm very confused. I think this shot is real. I can't tell. But if it is, cool. Looks good. Those missile trails look cool. Too bad they disappear in the next shot. This is a trope. Let's give it a name. The trope where the person's like smug or smiling and then it just drops because, oh no, I was wrong or something bad. It's usually the villain does it. You know this look. It's a trope. Let's give it a name. I haven't watched. I just pulled up the still where my note is and I'm already laughing. This is the funniest line in the movie to me, just looking at it. It's not really funny, but to me, it's so hilarious. I'm going to play it and here's my genuine reaction, okay?
Come get me.
I'm not faking that. Come get me.
Come get me.
So I'll quote that rarely to like my best friend because he knows that it's a quote and then I think it's funny. But that, oh gosh, why is it funny? I guess because his lips clearly don't match and it's just overly dramatic. Come get me. It's so funny. Let me blow my nose from that. I almost snotted from that. Oh, I love this movie. All right, so shout out to the stuntman for Hugh Jackman here, the one riding the motorcycle, who appears to be different than the stuntman who was doing the acrobatic stuff. But question to outsource to the audience, who is this dude? Because what he's doing is pretty awesome. He's riding what appears to be a heavy street bike on the dirt, making it look easy. I can see he's got 50-50 tires, so that helps and all, but like that's still some hard work, and that's very cool. And so I like this dude. If he shows up in the comments for some reason, hi dude, I'm a big fan. Here's a shot of Wolverine on the motorcycle, and it's actually Wolverine or Hugh Jackman on the motorcycle. I was kind of surprised.
Blow his brains all over the road.
So I guess this counts as a continuity error, but when lips don't match the dialogue, that bothers me, especially if it's like lazy. Like you didn't even need to show this. I don't know. I'm not saying this is an instance, but you can clearly see his dialogue doesn't match his lips, and it's like, eh. Stuntman shout out. So this shot, I thought it was weird that the tires don't kick up dirt, and then I realized that the whole motorcycle is on a rig. I kind of got to play it slowly, but the front tire is like in a track, but it's not making contact with the ground because it's not kicking up anything. The middle rig kind of is, and the rear tire definitely is. I watched it and I was like, how'd that guy do that drift without dropping it and holding it perfectly upright? Because it's not really drifting. It's like on a track that's hidden under the hay. That's a pretty cool trick, but maybe stack up the hay or the ground on the front tire to make sure that it looks better. I mean, it looks fine, right? It looks fine, but it was weird enough to catch my attention and look at it and realize it was wrong. Not a big deal. Stuntman shout out. It's a pretty good shot of him. He looks more like Liev Schreiber than Wolverine. Here's the guy again. Here he looks more like Ryan Reynolds. I assume that's the same guy. Sup, dude? So I realize you kind of only have one take and you don't care if this happens, but something came off of the Humvee and it's like a canteen of liquid and it just goes spraying around. Not important, but I'm just pointing it out. Shout out to this. Shout out. There's the English. Shout out to this stunt guy for taking this cool fall. I realize this shot is pretty dumb and it doesn't make any sense because, you know, I've played Battlefield, which means I know how this works in real life. And you don't shoot out the front of a passenger chopper like that. And you have no reason to follow on the ground. All that complaining aside, the shot looks cool. This shot bugged me right away when I first saw it. And I didn't know why. After taking just a second to look at it, this is why it bothers me. Because supposedly Wolverine, English is hard, man. Wolverine is coming at this Humvee full speed while the Humvee is going full speed at Wolverine. They should be like passing like that. But no, he's going with the Humvee, apparently, just long enough to just kind of hang out beside it and grab and climb on. That just looks, it's wrong. He would just get yanked, which they should have just done that. That'd make it, I don't know. Moving on. So I was looking at the dummies in the helicopter here, and that's pretty cool. I think they did this the right way. The passenger, or I guess the pilot in this case, lands in a certain specific way. So later, when they have the actor there playing dead, they have him sitting in the same position where his legs are hanging out the side of the helicopter. Presumably that's how they did it. They crashed the helicopter, looked at the dummies and went, okay, you need to lay like the dummy just was, which is a continuity thing, and that's how it's done. I can't say the same thing for Zero. He doesn't seem to be in the same place, but he needs to be in a certain place to deliver the dialogue a certain way. That's fine. But they bothered with the dummy, so that's cool.
Digital Zoo.
It's funny how good innocent people tend to die around you.
This is the biggest and most annoying example, I think, in this movie of dialogue not matching the lips. I know it's out of focus and that's their excuse, but he's clearly not even saying anything.
Good innocent people tend to die around you.
Cool guys don't look at explosions, they just walk away. Yeah, that's a trope that's been called out already.
Zero never stood a chance.
Then why did you send him? Did you want to cut his head off, blow him to bits, snipe him with a weapon that won't work? What was the plan?
Digital Zoo. Digital Zoo. Digital Zoo.
Okay, we're back to globetrotting. As you can see here, we're in Las Vegas, Nevada. Only there is a twist. I added the title. Here's the actual shot. There is no title. All we have is the Las Vegas sign, which I assume is supposed to work in place of the location title. And if that's what we're doing, I noticed in the future, because there are no specific instances, when we globetrot, there are no more titles. But if that's the case, now we have a consistency problem. What are we going to do in the future? If we're just going to have a billboard that shows where we are we just going to omit the titles for those? And if we don't have a billboard, do we jump back to titles? In the future, there's a problem where we've apparently globetrotted somewhere else, but there's no title. It's like they gave up on the globetrotting titles halfway through the movie. They just started getting lazy or gave up. I wonder how many takes that shot took. I'd love to see an outtake where he just straight up drops it and it shatters. I bet though, my guess is they got it on the first try.
Digital Zoo. Digital Zoo. Digital Zoo. Digital Zoo. Digital Zoo. Digital Zoo.
John, for some reason in this take, is moving very slowly at a slow frame rate.
Whatever you do, don't mention his weight.
And it just looks weird and wrong. I'm guessing they just didn't have a take of them staring at each other. So they felt the need to slow him down to have him look in the right direction. It's probably an instance of him like turning and looking out and they needed him to focus. So they just slowed it down. Weird.
Digital Zoo.
This sound effect is a grenade explosion from a plasma grenade in Halo 2. And it's used in many other things. But if you've played Halo 2 and you hear this, not that, I just slapped the microphone. If you hear this explosion, you'll know in your brain, oh, it's a Halo 2 plasma grenade. Why didn't John teleport out of the way? I thought that was weird, but then in the next instance, he does teleport out of the way. So why didn't he teleport out of the way? Also, look at Wolverine frozen in midair. It looks so silly. He's not legit frozen in midair. If you go frame by frame, his arm does move, but he's like on a track in the air. Most likely he's just rotoscoped in. He's probably on a string, but most likely he's rotoscoped. It looks so silly. I could just play it on loop. It's like comedic. And it is a comedic shot. I get it, but it looks silly. Also, shout out to the stuntman who now looks like Colin Farrell. Okay, so I'm pretty darn sure there's a digital zoom in here, but it starts as a dolly. It's really interesting. We dolly in and then he digitally zooms into where he wants the framing to be. And digital zoom is happening. That flip doesn't make sense, but good job, stuntman.
Digital Zoo.
I always thought him running away immediately felt wrong. Like, if you saw a guy tapping on the window, it would be like, what? If he was tapping on the window and had a gun, yeah, you'd run away. I think that's the effect they were going for. I think he was supposed to somehow see he's got claws. Oh, run away, which is kind of weird. That sound means something bad.
Digital Zoo.
Pop quiz, audience. If you are Liev Schreiber and you are chasing down a target that is directly in front of you, do you A, run directly toward your target, or B, jump off of the walls and zigzag, creating a longer path of travel to eventually reach your intended target? If you are Liev Schreiber, the correct answer is B. You did it. Good job. You are now a film mega superstar. You have now become X-Men. Okay. Just the frame. Look at this frame. Now watch the clip. Funniest line, come get me. Funniest shot, this one. Because his legs are just suspended in the air behind him. Oh.
Where is it? Logan, Stryker kept it real secret. But
the audience laughed at that. And then they rode their motorcycles together like friends. I thought that was nice. And then I was like, wait a minute. There's a river in Las Vegas? I thought Las Vegas was a desert. Did we globetrot? If we globetrotted, why didn't it tell us? And where did they come from? And how long have they been riding? Oh no. I'll put my own title card on here and make some kind of joke. I don't know. There are so many continuity errors in this sequence. I'm going to struggle to edit this really. Oh man. So, okay, first of all, he teleports into the alley and then Liev Schreiber is right behind him. Presumably, Liev Schreiber would teleport to the most advantageous position, which is not with his back turned to Liev. So that makes no sense. Here's a speed ramp shot again. When he turns, they just speed it up for some reason. It just looks weird and wrong. I don't like when they do that. So here's a punch. They reuse that later. When the second time he does it, it's the same shot. This second punch that he does has a sound effect as if the punch landed, but Liev doesn't react to it because, of course, John isn't actually there when they're shooting this, so it just looks silly. This shot right here gets used twice. They just flipped it and rotated it, and that's damn lazy. Disappoint.
I am disappointed.
I did frame by frame when he teleported every time because I thought it looked very cool. And this is the only instance where they bothered to animate his eyeballs, which I'm certain was intentional for dramatic effect. It's pretty neat. Stuntman, shout out. Here's a good example of not just a speed ramp, but like an omitted frame to speed up a punch. This is like a pretty standard editing technique for action. If you go frame by frame, you can see more simply or more easily that there's a frame missing or cut out to make the punch look faster and more impactful. And I feel I have to mention that the audience laughed at that. I always hated how Taylor Kirsch, I don't remember his name, Gambit. I always hated how Gambit left just to run back from the ceiling. It's so weird and dumb. So a bit of continuity, he got knocked out, he's on the floor, right next to these two. But he decides to get really far away and way high up to run back. You know why? So he could do the helicopter thing. Dutch angles are used in this movie at times that I can't figure out why. It's almost like a different director or cinematographer was on that day and decided he wanted to do it then. I couldn't find any consistent reason for it. When it sticks out, it sticks out. It doesn't really work in service of anything. And it's not indicative of any emotion other than that's just there, which is lazy. After he says that's a nightstick, his frames are slowed down, I presume for the same reason they did with John, which is probably because they needed him to maintain eye contact and they didn't have a shot long enough, so they tried to fix it in post and it just looks weird and sloppy. Although this time I think, yeah, they used optical zoom when they slowed it down. So it's just not consistent. Optical flow, which is when you basically blend two frames together to try to omit that space in between. It's like an AI that tries to draw what thinks is here in the middle. And it has a specific look, but it's better than slowed down so much that it's jaggedy. Anyway, lazy and inconsistent. Okay, let's talk about something that's going to be controversial. Everybody I've known for all time hates this. And I know it looks bad, and I think I like it. I haven't thought about this problem. Let's think about this problem. Okay, you're Wolverine. There's someone on the stairs. You need to get him. You could do what everyone does in this movie with claws. Gambit and Wolverine and Victor, they just stab and climb the wall. He could do that. He could just climb the stairs like a normal person. He could slice the stairs oh, this would make more sense. He does one slice that's like load bearing and brings the whole set of stairs down. That would have made sense. Okay, yeah, this is dumb. It's dumb. It's not smart. It doesn't make sense, but it looks fun, I guess. I know it's bad, but I still like it. I still want it in the movie. When I watch the movie, I want to see that. Okay. Bad blocking is very bad. Okay, so let's break this down. Stryker looks over to Munson. Munson looks over to Stryker over the shoulder. Okay, great, we're here. Wait a minute. We're following Stryker, and he's looking at a wall with nobody there. And then he goes through the wall, which apparently the Colonel can't see Stryker through. And now they have this same shot from earlier when Munson looked at Stryker. So apparently we've just used this shot from later in the beginning because it looks cool, but continuity doesn't make sense. The blocking is bad. Bad. Stop it.
Preemptive action is the only action here, General. We need to take the fight to the enemy before they take the fight to us.
Every time someone tries to win a war before it starts, innocent people die. Every time.
Digital Zoo, Digital Zoo.
Here's a sped up strike again. I don't like it. Stop it. Just strike faster. Just strike faster.
No one's gonna snoop around a nuclear reactor. They think it's gonna turn them into freaks.
Shut up, you freak! You're a freak!
I'm still confused. Are those Cyclops' eyeballs, or do they just take the powers from Cyclops? I thought that's what they had to do. Cyclops is wearing a bandage over his eyes as if they're injured or removed, but they can't be removed because he uses them to shoot lasers later. But then why did they need to cut into Cyclops' eyes if all they need to get someone's powers is to take their blood? I'm very confused.
Digital Zoo.
They gave me a shot of hydrochlorothiazide.
I quote that so much. Not that they gave me a shot, but the word hydrochlorothiazide in my head. I don't say it out loud, but like that word, I can just remember it. And I have no practical reason to use it, but I think of it a lot. Hydrochlorothiazide. Stuck in my brain.
It reduces the heart rate so low it appears you flatline.
And it makes you look so dead that no one bothers to look for cause of death or bothers to bury you.
Digital Zoo, Digital Zoo, Digital Zoo.
Dude, why are you in the ceiling? You were on the floor just a minute ago. Where? Hold on. There he is, way over here. He's way over here. I mean, he's pretty visible, but let's just assume he's hard to see. Okay, anyway, he's way over there. And now he's way over here and he's in the ceiling. I guess that's okay. It's stupid, but I guess it's okay.
He's using us.
This is one of those instances where there's just too many cuts. Like, there doesn't need to be this many cuts. There's at least one too many, and it's annoying.
He's using us.
This is... Ugh. I knew something was wrong when I saw it the first time, but I was too busy paying attention to the plot to know why it was wrong. What the heck is going on? She tries to run right past Victor, right in throat grabbing range. For what reason? Where's she running to? What's her plan? It's so, and then it's so fast and contrived. That's what it is. It's contrived. We need her to be grabbed by the throat. Maybe it'd make more sense to have Stryker just grab her. Maybe they were standing closer earlier. What is this? Gosh, for all the dumb things I'm okay with, I'm not okay with this.
Digital Zoo, Digital Zoo, Digital Zoo.
Shout out to the stuntman. Too many shots. They land 3 times. We don't need this. So that is basically, I don't know what this trope is called. It's an editing thing. I think Jackie Chan actually pioneered it or popularized it, where you show, and there are other instances in the fights in the movie, but I won't show them, where they show a punch and then the camera cuts and we see that same punch again. So it happens twice in continuity. And that's to show like force, which I know is why they're doing this. They're showing the impact 3 times, but 3 times is at least 1 time too many. 2 would have been, I don't like those. I prefer linear continuity. That's my own preference. I understand why you do 2. Sometimes it looks cool, but 3, no.
Digital Zoo, Digital Zoo, Digital Zoo.
Do it.
Do it.
So how long does it take for his regeneration abilities allow him to recover from a concussion? I'll tell you how long. As long as the script needs.
Digital Zoo.
Where's the guard that was guarding the gate? Because there definitely was a guard standing in front of the gate. Where are all the guards? We saw him sneaking past people earlier, so where? I'll tell you where they are. They're wherever the script needs them to be. We need to be able to have our heroes and our unarmed girl hero walk in, which doesn't make sense because he should be able to just fight them. Why are they gone? For that, and also so they can show up later dramatically. I don't know, man. I'm trying. How about earlier when Wolverine came in and confronted Stryker? Maybe have the guards like with their guns up and Stryker's like, I'm gonna give my expositional speech. You don't have to shoot him. Or come on, movie. I like you. Be good to me.
Activate weapon 11.
That sound means he's turning his head. In case you couldn't see it, that's what that sound means. Oh, cool. The security camera is shooting the movie for us. And now everybody's favorite character ever put to film, the real and true and only Deadpool. No, obviously this isn't Deadpool, but I do think this is a cool idea for a character, minus the computer part, just as long as it's not Deadpool. When I first saw that, I thought, how does he fit that in his arm? Because it's longer than his forearm, which would mean his elbow would be locked. And I was like,
Okay, let's get these kids out of here. Find another way out.
Digital Zoo.
Hey, it's me. One day your old pal Wade's gonna ask you to get back in the saddle again.
Digital Zoo, Digital Zoo.
Shout out to the CGI stuntman. It's a rare instance of them like covering the actor's face with a CGI face, because the person's real but the face is fake. Like that's pretty standard now, but they didn't do it all the time in this movie. Not digital zoom, but digital tracking panning. Shout out to this stunt guy.
I'm firing my laser!
Here's I'm gonna call it egregious, but an obvious example of cut frames to speed up. Here's our stunt guy. Two things. Number one, look at his mouth. Oh, woo.
Please give me huggy wuggies. Oh, woo.
That's so funny to me. And also, this guy's in way better shape than Ryan Reynolds, or more big, and he's also got like, not burns, but like complexion changes between his arms and his torso. It's not Ryan Reynolds. This guy's doing all the work.
Digital zoo, digital zoo, digital zoo, digital zoo.
Hold on, Gandalf. Is it left or right?
Left.
Left. Go left. Left.
Why is Professor Xavier only talking to him? It's well within his abilities to speak to everyone. Plus, then we could circumvent this whole, how do you know which way to go? Because he could just tell everybody in the... Because it's more dramatic this way, I guess.
Digital zoo.
There's another example of lips not matching. This is annoying.
I see you dance up here. Up here.
What was Wolverine's plan? Like, two things. Why would you want Deadpool up there? That doesn't benefit you. You wouldn't run away from Deadpool. You wouldn't leave him down there because it's not like he can't do anything, right? Like, what is the plan? I'll tell you what the plan is. The fighting on a rooftop with the villain trope. That's why. So, shouldn't his bones be metal since he's covered with adamantium? It kind of looks like on his shoulder blade that's adamantium. The face does not look like it to me. Maybe it is. In a later still, it does look more like metal. So maybe, I don't know if they bothered to do that. And I thought maybe technically, when he teleports, you only see the bones, not the adamantium that covers the bones. I don't know how that works. It's okay, I guess.
Digital zoo.
This reaction shot of him smiling, I just imagined he's watching something else. Small continuity errors, claws are there, but then they're gone. Why did they disappear? So that he can dramatically grab his brother's hand. That's why. Okay. Continuity doesn't matter if you have a story to tell, because I'm here for the plot.
Back to back!
Cute callback moment, but it would have been way more impactful if they had done what I had hoped for, which is really kind of build up the relationship more. Like, yeah, there's some brothers in us. I know they did that in the first 5 minutes, but it's just too compressed. We don't feel for Victor at all. It's not sympathetic. He's just a villain, which I know he is, but it could have been way more interesting. If the bond had been built up more over the movie, and then we come back to this cute callback, it would have felt more rewarding or earned. I think it's hilarious that he spent all that time flipping and flipping just to stand there and deliver one normal punch. This is a cool shot, even with the error. So like at one certain frame, you can see that it's clearly another take. Both Victor and Wolverine, like they change position and then the fight continues. Elsewise, it looks pretty cool. Not an easy shot to put together, I'm sure. I don't know how I'd go about doing it. It's pretty neat. So the teleporting is cheating now because he's in two places at once. Here's one instance, here's another instance. That's cheating. This isn't the only time this happens, but here's one I'm picking out where you repeat a hit or a strike or a punch to double or enforce its effect. So here's like an overhead kick that plays twice from two different shots back to back. That's what I'd prefer. Just one. That's nothing wrong. Stylistic choice. Carry on. It bothers me so much that when his eyes change color, that's what triggers the laser sound. See here, now the sound happens when it's supposed to. The eyes change color, and then the sound happens when he fires. That's what's supposed to happen, so that's just stupid. Also, I couldn't think of any examples where I would have heard this sound, but that laser sound is just a metal grating noise. Now, it makes some sense when Wolverine's blocking it because there's actual metal grating happening, but at any point when the laser is firing, you just hear essentially a train car. That's what it is. It's like, I think a would be better. I know it's like stereotypical, but it's a wrong sound effect. I don't know why it was chosen. Maybe because it was a loud abrasive noise that they had an extension of, so it was easier. Maybe it was lazy. I don't know. It's not correct. It's wrong. It bothers me. Good hit, stuntman. Shout out. Shout out to the stunt guy.
Digital zoo.
Adamantium bullets.
In case you forgot, audience, they're adamantium bullets, not bullets. Are you listening?
Everybody got that?
Digital zoo. Digital zoo.
His brain may heal, but his memories won't grow back.
How do you know that? How does that make sense? That's a Star Wars sound. It's probably not unique to Star Wars, but it's in Star Wars. If I remember where in the movies it is, I'll play a clip of it so you can see it being used in Star Wars. Yeah, bad continuity. That could have been fixed. So he lands far away from Wolverine. We can see he's far away because look at this. And then when he's revealed to be next to him, he throws his staff down. He's standing right next to him. Now I realize they could have just like skipped some continuity when he walks over to him, but clearly we're meant to think with this impactful throwing of the staff to the ground that he landed right there, which he couldn't have, because if he had, he would have blown up Wolverine or whatever. Lazy. Just have him walk over and say his dialogue, then throw the staff down. Like, it's easy to fix if you think about it, but no one bothers to think about it. I know I'm not the only one to point this out, but the CGI here is awful. Probably the worst environmental CGI. I know like there's that stage set from earlier that I hate, but this is like easy to mock.
This is disgusting. This is awful in every way. If I could kill it, I would.
This run is so funny. I can't do it because I'm sitting in a chair and I'm hunched in my coat, but that's pretty funny. Imagine you're a hero running out. Okay, so not even trying to bother with the memory thing. If your bullets go through the adamantium and they're in your head and there's no exit wound that we've seen, that means the adamantium bullets are still in his brain and he can heal, but they can't if the bullet is in there. So wouldn't he at least like have a headache? Like push the bullet out. In other movies, the bullet comes out. Do that, but they didn't show the bullets coming out. So I'm only left to assume I don't know what's going on anymore. Come on, movie. This amnesia thing was supposed to be a big moment. We're like, oh, it's Wolverine. That's the origin X-Men's Wolverine. It was supposed to be a big moment, but I think if they wanted that, they should have actually started the movie here when he wakes up and he sees Wolverine and he doesn't know who he is. It's like, what's my name? Like we're gonna see, and then we flash back to the beginning. And how did he get here? You know, then show the ending. It was fine in the order they did it, but I think if you wanted to have the payoff to the Wolverine tag, which is what they're trying to get, you could have set it up by showing this first.
What's my name? Heisenberg.
Now, what do you think he said? A, he said now. B, he did not say now with the consonant letter N. He said meow like a cat feline animal. If you said B, you are correct. He definitely said meow. You win both prizes. All of the prizes are yours because you selected correctly. You win. Look at this run. It's so funny.
Do you know her?
No, but you do, John Carter of Mars. It's weird when you see like actors together in a movie that don't interact, but they're in the same scene, but then they play off each other in another movie. So there's John Carter of Mars and his girlfriend not talking to each other because one of them's dead, but they're in another movie. It's kind of weird. Everyone can totally see Wolverine. They can see where he's going and they can see the plane. That's dumb. That wouldn't have been hard to fix. Like have a piece of debris, a big one that he just got around before they came in. So the line of sight is, they can see him and they don't chase him, right? They're going toward the body as if they don't see him. Like, oh, where'd he go? Like, come on. All right, post credits. So we have these now. This means the movie's almost over. Trust me, I like this movie, but I'm so relieved to almost be done talking about. How long has it been? Almost 2 hours. Jeez, man. Okay, so he's been walking long enough to grow facial hair, but no one stopped him because he was walking in the middle of the road and no one went like, hey man, that's illegal. Get out of the way. No one stopped him in all that time. Like if he was in the woods, this would be much easier to believe. But the fact that he's in the middle of a road is like.
You're wanted for questioning in connection with the death of General Munson, sir.
I think it'd be really funny if he just slowly turned back around and then kept walking. I can't edit that, so you'll have to imagine it. And here's the post-end credit scene. I'm going to talk over it because it's too long. I can't just show the whole thing. I don't think it's bad. I think it's actually cool if it's not Deadpool, right? This is some other villain like, oh, he's still alive. I think it's pretty cool and creepy. Again, not Deadpool. Think of it just not Deadpool. Remove the name. I think it's cool. And we reached the end of the movie. Oh, my body. Oh. Can I go home now? All right, let's close this out. While it was a pain for me to get through because of all the problems I have with it, I still like this movie. I like it so much that if I saw it on TV and I was killing time and I was flipping channels, and if I were to be on, I'd be like, I'll watch that. Still don't know why for sure why I like it, but I do. It's a special bad movie. So that is X-Men Days of Future Past. Like I said, it's not bad. It's competent. It has structure and everything, but it's nothing I could brag about or feel very good about saying I like. But I will probably like it forever. Still don't know why, but I do. And I know exactly how to rate it.
Six out of 10. Guilty pleasure.
Just a few more keystrokes and I'm done. There. Now, wasn't that fun? Well, yeah. I just don't have a lot of time to make videos. But you have time. Let us make a solemn blood pact. Even though we only have a little bit of free time, we will use our precious little free time to make videos. Alright? Alright?
Alright?
But now, you gotta go to work for a living. Yep. Well, I am pretty over being stared at by a camera while sitting in a chair, so I'm ready to take a break.